Why do you think it took so long for Jurgen Klopp to trust Nat Phillips? I mean, he very much preferred to put Fabinho and Jordan Henderson in centre-back ahead of Nat Phillips.
It's a difficult one, isn't he? He's obviously been out on loan at Stuttgart as well and did okay. And he's obviously started at Bolton. Didn't get any games at Bolton. Obviously, his dad played for Bolton as well, so there's that kind of link. So he knows how he was at Bolton. But he didn't get his opportunity. He's gone to Liverpool. He's 23 years old. Sometimes people say to me, well, obviously, I made my debut for Liverpool at 19, and I probably wasn't ready. But you have to just get on with it. And I think for Nat, he's just waited very patiently. There's been some real quality players ahead of him. He's had to wait his chance. One thing you can see from this clip, he puts his head in absolutely everywhere. It's also, he has to be careful at times. I sometimes worry about it because he absolutely flies in. And it's something you can't teach that. It's just a natural thing. Certain players just do it. But he's got loads of it. He has to work on keeping the ball better at times. That's one of his things that he has to get better at, definitely. But overall, he's wholehearted. He has a right good go. And Klopp will love him for that. Klopp loves that type of player. Klopp would like him to, obviously, there's players well ahead of him. He knows that. But at some point, I think Klopp will reward him, whether it's a good move for him, the kid personally, because he's 23, he'll want to play a lot more football. But the way he's playing at the minute, give the kid his chance because he's doing nothing wrong. From what I've seen of him as well, there is improvement as well. I've watched him from the under-18s to 23s right the way through at Liverpool. I've been very fortunate to watch a lot of the young players develop. And it's taken him time. And sometimes it does take players time. It took me a long time to get around the first team at Liverpool. You're in, you're out and all this kind of stuff. Andros was up maybe a little bit different to me, but sometimes it does take people time to find their feet. And he's still 23. He could have another 10 years at Liverpool. Who knows? Can't rule that out. But there is players ahead of him, and he probably knows that as well. So I think the club are very good at understanding that. And if it's time to move them on, they'll move them on. But at the moment, no need to do that because he's playing very, very well. And just hopefully he can stay with this form and keep doing well. That's the way he needs to do it.
I think Jurgen Klopp will probably be more pleased about Nat Phillips' performance than the actual 3 points because he knows now he can trust him in the Premier League. He doesn't need to put Fabinho back into centre-half and he can put him in his more natural position of obviously in the midfield, and Liverpool can return to a sort of normality in terms of the way they normally like to play. So, yeah, I think Jurgen Klopp will be extremely delighted with not only the 3 points, but with the performance of Nat Phillips and Kabak on the other side as well, who was very solid again.
Yeah, yes. Which is when the conversation about his future that Dom has mentioned there. What happens then when Virgil van Dijk comes back? What happens when Matip comes back, Joe Gomez comes back? Is there still space for Nat Phillips, or does he need to seek for a move elsewhere to get those regular minutes?
I think it's premature. At the moment, he's in the team, he's playing well, and I'm sure he'll get a run of games between now and the end of the season. But yeah, what Dom's saying is right. When it comes to next season, all the defenders are back, and all of a sudden he's had a taste of Premier League football. He doesn't want to go back to the under-23s, or he doesn't want to go back to warming the bench. He's had a taste of it. He wants more. And I think down the line, yeah, of course, when everyone's back, there'll be serious questions. He'll be asking serious questions of Jurgen Klopp and where he does fit in his long-term strategy. And if there is no long-term strategy, then he'll look to move on. If he does, then I'm sure he'll bide his time even more. Get another loan move, gain some more experience and see where he is when he comes back from that. But I definitely think he has a future based on tonight's performance alone.
Are his abilities enough to convince you, Dom, that he can play in any team in the Premier League?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say so soon. You have to get quite a few games under your belt before you can kind of think like that. But knowing the kid a little bit, you can see the way he plays, and like you say, I've seen more of him playing at the under-23 level. To be brutally honest, obviously I've seen him when he's coming in to play the first team on a few occasions, and he's always done okay. He's been wholehearted, but I think what he needs to learn now to get to that next level is the understanding and sometimes about what positional sense. Positional sense is so underrated. No one really talks about it. No matter what position he plays, but especially at centre half. If you can get yourself in the right position, look at Jamie Carragher. He had an unbelievable career about putting himself in the right positions and having a bit of a mouth about him, talking. He's a great talker. And Nat's got to bring, he's not a natural talker. he's got to bring that into the way he talks about. Because the one thing, if you're a centre half, you have to be a voice. Van Dijk's a voice. He's very loud. You can hear him shouting, and I've heard him a few times. When I've been doing the commentaries and stuff, he's very loud and very vocal, and that's something Nat Phillips has to learn. You can't teach that as well. You've got to be able to. You've got a voice. I mean, Jamie Carragher had it instantly. So Nat needs to be looking back at a few games. You can hear Carragher screaming, can't you, even now when he's doing his commentaries? So it's something. It's not a bad thing to have that. People always say, "Oh, people are loud and this," but if it wins your games and gets you results, keep doing it. That's part of being a footballer. Talking's massive, and it's underrated again.
I think that's a great point Dom made, because those guys at the back or in the midfield, they can see the whole game. So whereas I can only see what's in front of me, if I can hear my centre half or my defensive midfielder screaming at me, telling me where to run or who to close down or which side to show him, inside or out, is vitally important. So yeah, I think if Nat Phillips is going to have a career at a big club like Liverpool, like Dom said, he needs to, if he isn't already, he does need to become more of a vocal presence.